Alright, hey there y'all, it's Renee here. Coffee, because it is friggin' cold in here. I did that to make a point too, you saw that, didn't you? Anyway, I have been getting some interesting text messages from my landlords. I'm assuming it's his wife, not him, because I think if they were from him, they would be more out of control. But I should have done this before I started the video. I'm going to show you, but I want to make sure nobody can see their number. I'm really not trying to be spiteful. I really am not. I am actually the type of person that shit like this has just disgusted me to the point to where I think they really, really need to be held accountable. I'm sorry, I'm trying to fix something while I'm talking at the same time. But she is very clever. She thinks she is very clever. She's actually, I think, wording herself very carefully because she does not, she knows I'm documenting this stuff as well. Well, I probably can't get it. Okay, she's sending me another text now. And I'm not sure how I'm going to answer. Okay, I'll just read them out instead of showing you my phone. Maybe I'll just show you a quick glance. There's quite a few. Yeah, you can't see it any damn way, so what the hell difference does it make? Okay, I'll just tell you. The first text was on October the 7th. When can you come pay the rent? 3 days later, that's when they came to collect it. And I told them the hot water was still not working, and there were other issues that they had not gotten to yet. And that's when her husband said, let it burn down with her in it. And on the 11th, which is day after that, she says, how is the hot water today? It's hard to believe people have the ability to buy and own so many rental properties and can't even spell properly. It drives me insane. Anyway, I responded, there is no hot water. And then she responded 2 hours later and asked, are you home? And I was actually not by then. I was going somewhere, so I said I will be in about an hour. And she said, we just left Longleaf, which is the dirt road off of the dirt road that leads to my trailer. So I'm thinking, why don't you come down here and ask how the hot water was doing? Okay, the 22nd, which is yesterday, hi, if you, and everything is one sentence, no periods. Grammar Nazi here, y'all, drives me nuts. Hi, if you want to stay there, you need to pay the rent. If you are moving, let us know. And I responded with about a half an hour later, I think. And you all have flat out refused to make any repairs. What I am going to do is report everything to all the agencies that need to know. Mr. Allred has been nothing but hateful about this entire thing. You are greedy, unkind people, and it is a shame that you are allowed to hold rental properties. You take advantage of people less fortunate than yourself. And I sent a second text immediately after because I had an afterthought. If you are going to continue renting to anyone, you might want to bring all your properties up to code. Okay. About 5 minutes later, she responded, I'm sorry you feel that way. If you are uncomfortable in my house, leave. You still owe October's rent. Okay. Today at 10:20 something this morning, you need to pay the rent today or let us know when you will pay. Eviction paper will be taken out tomorrow. And I responded, I'll be glad to tell a judge my side of this. Go ahead and start the process. Please. You are not above the law, and now I have a sick child and no heat. That's right, Julio's extremely sick with a cold or something, and I'm starting to get it too, as you can hear. And our light bill's already really high for not really using any utilities. It's just the water heater is bringing it up. I don't want to turn on the heat and be left with any extra. I'm hoping to just go just within my deposit that I paid on the lights here because I can't afford to pay the bill with all these moving expenses. So anyway, she responds, Oh, I didn't finish reading that text to you. Well, I said, I have a sick child and no heat. Every major in all capital letters, repair I informed you of was met with hostility. Why don't you have heat? Did you tell us you had no heat? So now she's actually documenting or trying to document that she has no knowledge of any of this. But in her last message that I just got, that fixes that. I responded, sure did. I told you the ducts needed to be fixed. You looked inside them when you were here the last time. And she responded, we sent repairmen to fix things. That's what I got from her so far. And I like to leave her hanging, so I'm going to let her hang herself. I'm not going to say anything else to her. I've said pretty much all I'm going to today, because I'm not going to do this back and forth bullshit with them, because they are people who have obviously for a very long time gotten away with taking people's money, and that's the sole purpose of them renting properties. It is nothing that they want to do to help the community or help a person out. Their purpose is to make money. They will send somebody in. They have a repair crew. They have quite a few people who are on their payroll, or who get free rent from them for painting or doing, or, you know, they get discounted rent. Even the guy that lives in the shitty trailer in front of their, or beside their house, that is their full-time maintenance man, has to pay rent. And, so anyway, but all these other little helpers, I guess, they are people that just, it's an alternative to working. So they they paint and do little things to pay their rent off. But they're not qualified to do any work. And the ones that are qualified, like the electrician that he sent here, he's actually an electrician / cop. And I think that's part of what makes them think that they're so above the law, is that they sent him out. But he told me, and if I'm not mistaken, Daisy, did you not witness him telling me that he told Larry that this was not going to fix it? Did you hear the conversation? See, she may be 13, but when she gets in there and tells the truth, if we are put before a judge, which today is our beginning moving day. We should be out of here by the 2nd, November 2nd. But anyway, the electrician told me this is not going to fix it, and I told Larry that. That's his words. He said, and I said, well, why didn't he just fix it? He said, because if he fixes it, he's got to move you out of here into a better place, and quite possibly he doesn't have a better place. And the whole place needs to be rewired. It is a major issue. But then again, that same electrician came in back when my brother was still here. I think it may have been in May or June, and replaced the breaker switch for the dryer, because it was actually too low, and it was causing the dryer to trip off and not work. And when he was here repairing that, he told me, he said, I'm going to speak to Larry. He said, because he said, I think that he said the whole place needs to be rewired. The box needs to be replaced, everything. He said, it looks like this fuse box was installed in a hurry. I'm like, got saliva, because my jaw is hurting. I woke up a while ago and was taking a nap, and now I feel like I've got a cold. My jaw is really sore. Anyway, so I mean, it just, to me, it amazes me, and I would be completely amazed if a man who is not only an electrician but a police officer would go before a judge and tell a flat out lie against me. But this one particular officer, I've had dealings with him for a long time. Just not anything that I did, but I've seen him around and I know him, and I think he's a pretty good guy. So, in my opinion, I think if he was asked to tell what happened, he would tell what happened. I am holding my patience with this, because it's like I was telling Daisy a while ago. She's very cleverly is texting me, because in her mind she is documenting that she did nothing wrong. And I know the reason she won't speak to me on the phone is because her loudmouth, pill-popping husband can't control his temper. When it comes to his money, I mean, everybody that has come in here that works for him, his little repair people, have told me, I think even the electrician said it, you don't mess with Larry Allred and his money. You just don't. And so that's the problem. He is not going to spend more than you're paying in rent. And I paid nothing in October. And I know that by one way of the law, I'm not supposed to do that, to hold back for repairs. But that's not what I'm doing, because I feel like I'm being illegally evicted because I asked for repairs to be done. Therefore, Larry broke the contract that we had for me to rent this home. So I do not owe him October's rent. When I went in September before the rent was due, it would not have been late or anything like that. When I went to try and speak to him about this hot water issue and the heating ducts, because the cold weather was coming in and I wanted to push that issue, I let it go. When winter started subsiding, and I even told my brother and my kids, I'll just try to get him to fix it before next winter. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh, he told me, you don't like it that I'm not repairing these things, or it ain't up to your whatever he said. He said, you can just get out. Just take your kids and get out, were his words. So I feel like I was pressured and pushed and being forced out, so no rent for October. But anyway, I have already written a letter to the Attorney General. That is done. For fear that we will have to get out quicker than we are ready to get out, I have not called an inspector. What I'm doing is simply staying up as much as I can and being awake when my children are asleep, so that if anything catches on fire, we can get the fuck out of here. And the hot water heater's just been making strange noises. It pops and just ticks and fizzes. And so, yeah, the other day, even my son Julio, he said, I smell something. I said, I smell it too. I said, just have, as much stuff as you can grab if we have to go out the door in the middle of the night. And I always know where my car keys are, and, know where my kids are, so I can yell, run, if I smell it. But, yeah, anyway. It is incredible to me that they could get away with anything like this. And I'm afraid that they might, because I did not print out or even look up that landlord-tenant handbook until after all this was really getting frustrating. And one thing that you have to do as a tenant, I don't care if you've been with your landlord for 20 years and he's the nicest guy and his wife is so nice and brings you chocolate chip cookies and milk every weekend. If you have to have a repair done, I don't care if it's, a lock on a window latch won't work. Put it in writing and give it to your landlord and ask them to sign it. Just say, can you sign this for me? Just be as friendly about it as you can. Say, I'm documenting. I just like to document things so that if, make it sound like it's in their favor, so that if I ever move out, you remember that I didn't break this and it was repaired. And maybe that will encourage them to sign it. However, I still don't think that the landlord I'm with would sign anything even before all of this, because he is such a greedy, hateful man. I mean, I thought he makes my adopted father look like a saint. I mean, really, I could see the halo on his head and everything. I mean, this man is just wicked. And I hate to be cruel by calling him a pill popper, because he is an older man and he does have back problems. But I got back problems too. And I took too many of my pain pills today as an excuse to yell and scream at a tenant and tell them that you hope the house burns down with them in it. So, yeah. They ain't met nobody like me. Because I am not done with their asses. And it tickles me when she sends me a message. And I told Daisy, I said, she is so hoping that I will say something ugly, or that I will own up to not paying the rent and give some alternative excuse. I said, I wouldn't put it past them to have spoken to an attorney. I mean, with over 50 rental properties, if that's true, and what they charge for rent on most of them, they probably have enough money to give an attorney $500 to tell them what they need to do. And he's probably said, oh, you need to get her documentation of her attitude, because it's probably been me that had the attitude in their mind. And I can honestly say that when the situation calls for it, I can get really loud and really rude. And I'll tell you a story about that later. But I'm renting from this man. So from the get-go, I have not been hateful. I have not talked ugly to him. I've always called them by Mr. and Miss. I have been nothing but respectful, even when he has yelled at me, because in my mind I'm thinking, I have absolutely done nothing wrong, and from this point forward I'm still not going to do anything wrong. We're not going to do anything spiteful. You know, my boys were like, well, let's leave this and let's leave no, we're going to clean the place up before we leave. There's not going to even be a mess in the yard, which there was when we got here. My brother and my boys cleaned it all up. The people's furniture and old TVs and shit were in the backyard here when we got here. And my brother said, oh no, your grandbabies and my little boy going to be out here playing. We're cleaning this up. So they did. And my boys were like, let's leave this and no. We will not do one single thing that will make it look like we are mean and spiteful. We're going to do everything that we're supposed to do. The only thing I have done wrong from the beginning of this, and I'm not afraid to admit it, because they have my deposit, is I have not paid October's rent. But I have I always wrote a check. Always wrote a check for the rent, because I'm bad to not keep up with those receipts. If Julian was alive, he'd make me. But I knew I would, and the very purpose of me getting a checkbook was to write checks for the rent. And that was way back when Julian first passed and the first time we moved. But my checks have the little carbon copy on the back, and I'm always clear on my checks. This check is for May's rent, and I make it out to them. So I have every carbon copy of every check up till October since I've been here. And I could even go online and make copies from my bank of when they cashed the check. So, you know, most of the time I think they would call into the bank and say, hey, we got a check from so-and-so, because I would drive to their house, give them the check, come back here, check my bank account, and it shows that the check has been processed. I don't know how they did that, but they did. But anyway, wow, almost 20 minutes of video. I'm sorry, y'all, but really, it's almost humorous to me if it didn't piss me off that they don't give a shit. They don't care if my kids and I are safe or not. They won't care if the next tenants are safe. And I would carry a lot of guilt if I didn't at least try to do something. If I read in the paper in a couple of months that somebody living in this trailer died in a house fire. I mean, it's dangerous. And I'd hate to think of some poor family having to pay a $400 or $500 light bill a month because the heating ducts here go under. They're disconnected. They're not coming inside the house, they're going under the house. What a shame that this landlord doesn't care. And I hope and I pray that God, karma, the attorney general, the inspector, all of them come back to get him, because they don't need to treat people this way. So anyway, I'm sorry, I'm trying to cut this down a little bit. It's almost 20 minutes long. Peace, y'all. Love you. Bye bye.